Okay, so I ran out of time on the last video, so this will be part 2 of the Unit 5 exercise 10-1. So I believe where I left off, we were still in the customer form event handlers. I believe I went over the loading, the closing. I think I was kind of going over the button clicks, data changed, and all that jazz. Just to cover my own butt, see what, because I forget exactly what I just went over, but I remember. Okay, so if I didn't go over this, is data saved? All right, here's where I initialize that. But I do believe I left off. No, where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. I think I believe I left off with the select payment click. We have the variables for that, and then the label box that displays the results of the payment form. And so past that, we have the save button. So what that's going to do, it's got the if statements, statement that calls the isValidData function and saves the data. And then here's the isValidData function. So here we have the if statements to determine if the data is valid. Scroll over a little bit so you can see that. Here we go. So basically, if any of that data is invalid, it's going to display these messages to let you know, and it's obviously going to return the is valid data false. But if all is good and the data is valid, it's going to return true. And then below that, we have the sub for saving the data. So that's what's going to happen if it saves it. It would be assumed that, I mean, this is just resetting everything to just nothing really. If this was a real form and whatnot, it'd be saving it to a database or a form or a file or something like that. But that's just what I have it set as, so it shows that it's doing something. And then the button exit, so close out of the form, and then we went over the closing. So I believe that was all of those. So we'll go to the payment form. Funny story, when I ran out of time, I probably continued talking for an additional 8 minutes before I realized that I was out of time, so that was fun. So I'm going to go back over this one again. So we got the payment form event handler. So we got the load, 2 button click events, add code to those events, billing, check change, add the code for the event, procedures, the enabling the controls, disable controls, is valid data. So I'm just going to go over all that in here so I don't run out of time. Alright, so to start off, we load the card types to the credit card type label box. So here's the different types of credit cards that are going to get loaded to that list box. Why did I put label box? List box. There we go. Much better. Then we have the month array, which has all the different months and the directions, and as the first option and whatnot. And that's also going to get loaded here. This loads the months array to the expiration month combo box. And then down below here, here's the variables for the expiration year. So we get the current year, and we go from the current year plus 8 years. So those are your options to choose from, and then it's going to load those years to the year combo box, for the expiration year combo box to be specific. And then below that, we have the OK button. So when the OK button is clicked, if the data is valid, the form will save. So it's going to call the is valid data, and then it will, if it is valid data, it will save the data. So here we have the is valid data function, similar to the last one. Oh crap! What am I doing? There we go. We have the if statements to verify that the valid data is entered. So here is checking the different data to make sure they're valid, and if they're not valid, it's going to give the applicable message boxes to say that they're not, and it's going to return them false because they're not valid. But if it turns out this is all good and it's valid, it'll return true. And then here's where it saves the data. Get all that in there. Okay. So the sub, save data, we got the variable message as a string. So basically we got some if statements to determine which message to display based on the user's radio button selection. So if the credit card radio button option is checked, then it will display the message with all the credit card info. Otherwise, if bill customer is selected, it'll only say send bill to customer, because it's not going to need all that credit card information if that's not selected, because we're just going to be billing the customer. Versus if we click that one, we would need the credit card information displayed. And then also, if the default billing is checked, it'll add default billing just like on the picture that was showing. And it'll say true. If the payment data is good, it'll be displayed on the customer form. So below that, the sub billing checked here. So if the if statement that determines whether the credit card options are enabled or disabled. So with this, basically, if the credit card radio button option is checked, it's going to enable all the credit card controls and options, because you're going to be entering credit card information. Versus if you were to check the bill customer, you're not going to need all the credit card controls, because you don't want to confuse the user and have them enter that information when it's not needed, because we're going to be billing them directly, not using a credit card. So that just enables or disables them based on what you choose. And then here's where it enables the controls. So that if they if they choose the credit card, it'll enable the credit card controls. And then if not, then it'll disable the credit card controls. And then past that, there's just the cancel button that just closes the form. So let me just look through here. We've got the load, the two buttons, code events, billing, yup, change, yup, and the code for event for that, yup, and then the procedures for the enable and disable controls. Is the data valid? And we got the save data. So that is, to my knowledge, all of the 10-1 criteria. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much. So sorry, I ended the video a little prematurely. You probably just heard me say goodbye there a second. Actually, I didn't run through the form or anything like that. Which I was just thinking I probably should have ran through it. So I'm starting back up, and I'm going to show it working, because that's what I forgot to do. And then my video is kind of getting along in time, so I'm going to try and hurry and go through this before I hit that time limit again. Try and make this only 2 parts rather than 3 parts. Okay, so if I load it up. So customer name, I'm going to choose me. Payment method, I'm going to select the payment method. I'm going to do a credit card. I'm going to do a Visa. Card number is going to be bleh. And then the month will be January 2022. And I'm going to set this as my default billing method. I'm going to hit OK. And then as you can see, it's going to display all that information here. And that's my default billing, so it's true. And then if I were to hit save, see, it's going to, like I said, it's going to put everything, it's just going to set everything back to 0, basically, reset it, the form. But in theory, if this was a real working application, it would be saving this to some database or a file or something like that. But that's just to show that that button works. And so exit out of that, exits out, run that again. So someone will choose my wife. We're going to select the payment. We're going to do American Express. Or actually, you know what? I'm just going to bill. We're going to bill us directly. So as you can see, all this cancels out. So I can't click on any of this. Can't do anything with any of these. And I don't want that to be my default billing method. I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to say send bill to customer, and that's false. And then same. If I save, it's going to do that. I can exit out. Additionally, what's something else I didn't test? I'll do me again. We'll select the payment. I'll just cancel out of it. And it's going to say this form contains unsaved data. Do you want to save it? And then if I hit yes, it's going to do the save. If I hit no, it's not going. It's not going to. It's going to continue. Or if I hit cancel, it should go back. So I do that again. We'll say yes. Oh, I have to enter things. Okay, we'll do that first. Well, at least it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay. Exit. So I didn't save it yet, so I was going to say this form contains unsaved data. Do you want to save it? I'm going to say yes, I want to save it. And then it will close out because it was good. So anyway, that should be everything. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I believe that is it. Thank you very much.